all the lights! Hi, I'm Olaf and I've got a hardtail again. So this is the top end version of the Trek Roscoe and it only comes in one color. There's these sand colors with speckled paint on it and it blends into this green color in the lower end of the bike. So this is marketed as a burly hardtail and I think this is Trek's answer to specialized fuse, which I tested a few months ago. But this bike has got even a more progressive geometry and a longer fork as well. So this bike has got a Fox 36 and that's a Fox 36 rhythm, which probably has got all the adjustment possibilities that you need. Will he ever make it? So this is a size large bike and I'm 185 centimeters. I think that's 6 feet, something like that. And I fit pretty well on this bike. I think it's a bit different. So I think that the reach is a little bit on the shorter side that I'm used to. It's for 70 millimeters and with the seat up. So I'm sort of leaning over the handlebars a little bit more than I'm used to. And the front end isn't as high as I thought it would be with a 140 millimeter fork. At the same time, I'm sitting here very comfortably and I'm starting to realize that this is not really an enduro hardtail. It's more of a trail hardtail, despite the progressive numbers. So in that regards, it's pretty close to the specialized fuse, to be honest. And we'll make a video, a comparison video between that specialized fuse and this bike later on. But for now, we'll talk about the Roscoe. So to the numbers then, the reach of this bike is 470, it's a size large bike, and the chainstays are 430, so that's pretty short for being a 29er. The head angle, it's 65 degrees, the seat tube angle I don't remember, but I'll write it down here somewhere. But it's important to remember that this is a hardtail, so you cannot really translate this into full suspension numbers. The handlebars are pretty wide, it feels as if they're 760 or 780 even. And it's got a very short stem too, it's 45 millimeters. It looks very much like the Trek Top Fuel actually in the cockpit. And the dropper is 150 on this bike. So to the wheels and tires then. The wheels are the trusted Bontrager XR4 with a 2.6 inch in width. And the wheels are the Line Comp 30. So these wheels have got an update for 2021 and 2022. It's a different alloy and it's also a different profile as well, a stronger profile. And the rear hub is interesting as well. It's got a very fast engagement. Okay, I think it's time for a test ride. So I'm slowly starting to change my mind about these tires. There are lots of icy patches here everywhere, as you can see, making it pretty sketchy. But between the patches, there's actually a lot of grip to these tires, at least in this type of terrain. I still don't think it's a good mud tire, but here I feel that I can trust them pretty well. Okay, they're actually better than I remember them, so could be really slippery here with cross-country tires, of course, but these are, I would say, proper trail tires. Yeah, the tires are all right, but I don't think they can tackle ice that well. No way. I feel that this type of flowy single track trail suits this bike pretty well. It's perfect conditions for a hardtail. And I know I don't ride like those Red Bull helmet guys do, but that's beside the point. The point is that it makes me feel like I'm a better rider than I am. Difficult to say anything about the suspension since it's very cold now and forks don't work very well in sub-zero temperatures. But I know from testing other bikes that this Fox 36 rhythm, it's pretty solid. It's very stiff and it's enough for enduro style riding too. So this is apparently a red trail according to Trail Forks. I don't think it's very steep, but I'm guessing it's more technical, roots and rocks and stuff. And I think a hardtail makes sense in these types of places. When you're going slow, it's when you're going fast that the rear wheel starts to live its own life. The front end of this bike is pretty interesting. I thought it should be a bit more sluggish, considering the slack head angle and the geometry overall. But it's actually the other way around. It feels very quick in the turns, and sort of surprised about that. There are icy patches everywhere, so whoop, slip and slide all the way down. But I really appreciate this quick steering, especially in the slower corners and when climbing. Makes this bike very agile. So that was the front end. The rear end is of course very snappy. So it's 430 in the rear, which is really short for being a 29er in my book. So I would say that this is more of a fast trail bike rather than a burly enduro hardtail. And nothing wrong in that. That's to my taste actually. Yeah, of course this bike climbs very well too, being a hardtail and all, but it's also got a great range. It's got a really large cassette. It's a 10-251 I think. I don't sit like on a cross-country bike, but I'm halfway there I think, something in between a full suspension trail bike and a cross-country bike when seated. And I got some pressure on the front wheel as well, since I'm moved a bit forward too, and I don't know, maybe there's a reason behind that, but this is a hardtail, and maybe having a little bit more pressure on the front wheel helps to offload that rear wheel. So now I'm sitting down pedaling, and I've been pedaling this bike for quite a lot for the last few days. And first I thought it was a little bit too short, and I still think it's not on the long side, but at the same time I'm getting used to it. And it is like that, when you get used to a very long reach and go back to sort of a normal reach, it feels too short. But honestly, it's perfectly doable. I could move back the saddle a little bit, just a centimeter or two, and that would have been just perfect I think. One thing that I forgot to mention, a small complaint actually, is that I don't seem to be able to get the dropper down properly. This dropper is a bit too short for me, and I can't really get the saddle down as low as I want to. And that further indicates to me that this is a trail bike and not a gravity focused bike. So the brakes are some sort of Shimano M brakes. There are 4-pot brakes, and I feel as soon as there's a Shimano 4-pot brake, it doesn't matter if it's called Dior or XT, they perform well, and definitely well enough for this bike. It's enough to use one finger to stop this bike.
Here are 3 annoying things with the Trek Roscoe 9. The dropper is too short for me. I can't easily get my ass on the rear wheel in steep sections without getting snagged on the saddle. I'm debating with myself whether if I feel the bike is too cramped, or if this is a deliberate decision to make the bike nimbler and more playful, which it certainly is. Avoid the 2022 Roscoe 6, as it's still the old Roscoe, which is very different from the new ones. Here are 3 good things with the Trek Roscoe 9. The top-end version of the Trek Roscoe has got just the right blend of components, and there's no need to upgrade anything on this bike. I think it's a correct decision to make this bike trail focused rather than to overdo it and go even slacker and burlier. This way the bike is more fun on more types of terrain. A chain guide, threaded bottom bracket, good lock-on grips and integrated cable routing are just a few details that are easily missed, but that you will enjoy over time. In all, the Trek Roscoe 9 is a bike that I have thoroughly enjoyed riding this past month. I haven't ridden all new trail hardtails of course, but I'm pretty convinced that this is one of the most enjoyable and capable hardtails out there at the moment. Don't miss the upcoming video where I will compare the specialized views with the Trek Roscoe in an epic trail hardtail battle. So I'll see you in the next video.